Alright, in this unit we deal with factoring polynomials. I'm going to give you an example here of factoring out a common factor. It's also, you may have heard it as GCF factoring. So I'm going to do a quick example here. We'll call this example 1. I'm just going to write an example down here and we'll factor out the GCF. I'll show you how that works. This should be reviewed for most of you guys, but just in case you need a little refresher here, I'll go through everything with you. Here's our example, 8x to the 4th y squared plus 6x to the 3rd y to the 3rd minus 2xy to the 4th. First thing we need to do is find the GCF of these three terms. Okay, I kind of look at it individually here. Look at the coefficients first here. You got 8, 6, and I like to think of that as -2. If you look at those three numbers there, the biggest factor, the biggest number that goes into all three of those is 2. I'm going to write that down over here, and I'll come back to that when we start to divide things out here. But now let's look at the x's. We've got x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, and then we got x to the 1st there. There's not a 1 there, but it's assumed that it's there. When you look at all three of those, each term has at least an x to the 1st in it. So that means I can factor that out. Bring that out. So I know there's going to be a 2 and an x. We also got the y's here. We've got y squared, y to the 3rd, y to the 4th. When you look at each term there, each term has at least a y squared in it. Okay, we can look at all three, so that means I can factor out y to the 2nd. So this right here, 2xy squared, that is the greatest common factor out of all three of those terms. So that means I can factor that out of this expression. When I say factor that out, really what I'm doing is I'm dividing each of these terms by that expression. So the thing is, I got to write what is left. I'm going to have to multiply that times what was left over. So to figure out what goes in the parentheses here, just do the division. Okay, 8 divided by 2 is 4. X to the 4th divided by x is x to the 3rd. Y squared divided by y squared is 1. That's gone. It's already brought out to the front. We don't need to write that here. We'll move on to our next term. Our sign's going to stay the same. We didn't factor out a negative number or anything, so our signs are going to stay the same here and here. We can actually write that right here. Minus right there. So when we divide this one, 6 divided by 2 is 3. X to the 3rd divided by x is x squared. Y to the 3rd divided by y squared is y. Move on to the next one. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I'm not going to write that there. You don't need to write 1 down. It's not going to change anything, so don't do it. Same thing with the x. X divided by x is 1. We don't need to write anything down there for the x's because it's already brought out to the front. When we divide there, you get 1. And you got y to the 4th divided by y squared. That's going to be y squared. So we do need to write that down there. So we got two equivalent expressions here. We just this is the original polynomial form. Then we got the factored form. Both of those are equal to each other. So that's a quick example on how you do GCF factoring. If you want to try an example here on your own, you can try it on your own here, and you can check with me in class tomorrow to see if you got it right. Let me give you an example here. Let's do 3x to the 3rd y plus 6x to the 4th y squared minus 12. Let's go x squared y to the 3rd. So that's an example. I'll call that example 2. You try that one on your own. See what you do. You can check with me in class tomorrow.